Hey guys, today I want to speak to a very particular situation. This is because I just got an email from a parent asking for my advice about this. And here's the situation. My son or my daughter, or you if you're watching this, is sitting at a 15 or less on the ACT math test. They don't know what to do. Please help me out. So in my experience, here's essentially what this means. It means that on the ACT math test, if this is you and you're scoring a 15 or less, you're basically guessing on almost every single math problem. And of course that means with the math test as it's currently structured, you're getting about 1 out of every 5 correct. If you're in the future and this is the new ACT math test that has 45 questions and only 4 answer choices, A, B, C, or D, then it basically means that you are, still guessing and getting a fourth of them correct. So what we want to do then is put ourselves in a situation to obviously get higher than a 15. And the way to do that on ACT math is in one of two ways. You can either learn more math, which of course I would recommend, and my books and things help students to do that. But there's another way too, and that's with a particular strategy that's really only applicable if you're scoring a 15 or less on the math test. To explain this, I need to take a little bit of a step back, and here's what I mean by that. The ACT math test is the only test out of the 4 or 3, if you're watching this in the future with the new ACT, but it's the only ACT test that increases in difficulty as the test goes along. This increase isn't linear. It doesn't mean that number 60 is the hardest always, and then number 59 is the second hardest. It's more like you can think about it in chunks. Numbers 1 through 20 in the current ACT, obviously this is the future one, we're talking about numbers 1 through 15, but the first third forms the easiest block on average. The middle third in the ACT as it's currently structured, this would be numbers 21 through 40, forms kind of a medium difficulty on average, and then the final third in the current ACT, that's 41 through 60, and the future ACT, that is 31 through 45, but that final third is the most difficult block. So understanding that, it simply means this. You as the student who's making a 15 or less on the ACT math test, you really don't need to spend any time at all on that final difficult third, okay? We want to put ourselves in a situation where we release the pressure of that and we focus on the first 2/3 of the test and put ourselves in a situation to give ourselves a little more time to hopefully get more of those questions correct. So what I want you to do as the student is when the ACT test is placed in front of you, this is again only if you're making a 15 or less, go ahead and guess on that final third. So if it's numbers 41 through 60, go ahead and make a guess on those. And I've heard from the ACT itself, or at least from somebody who worked for the ACT, that the only time in the entire ACT where you can almost make predictions about letters being correct is in the final 10 of the math test. So without me going into all the details and explaining why this is the case, go ahead in the final 10, so that'd be numbers 51 through 60, go ahead and guess either the first or last bubble. So in the current ACT, that's A or E or F or K. If this is the future ACT, that'd be A or D or F or J. But go ahead and guess that last bubble, and then in numbers 41 through 50, guess the middle 3 bubbles. So that'd be B, C, or D, or G, H, or J in the current ACT. But even if you can't remember that, just remember in the final 20, just go ahead and guess. Relieve yourself of that difficulty or that pressure of getting through all 60 math problems. And what you've now done is put yourself in a situation where you've got 60 minutes, at least in the current ACT again, 60 minutes for the first 40 questions. So hopefully that gives you a little more time to actually get more of these questions correct and takes the pressure off of trying to get through all 60 math problems. Because again, we don't want to be guessing on every single problem. If you guessed on every problem, you'd get about a 14 or 15 on the ACT math test. We want to instead put ourselves in a situation where we can get more questions right, which means a higher ACT math score. Go ahead and guess on that final third to put yourself in the best possible position to do your best on the ACT. Hey, thanks for paying attention, and I hope this helped you out. Please let me know if you have any other questions. Leave a comment below. May God bless you.